come running and screaming, you know what I mean. Charlie, she said, you throws away good meat? I told her, I said, well, boy, you wouldn't eat a cat, would you? Oh, yes, she said. You know, she said, all meat good to eat. Some might stink a little bit, but still good to eat.
That's true.
And that's the way it was the Cree Indians of Saskatchewan. Yeah. They ate whatever they shot. Skunk, anything. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of respect for the Cree? Were they good,
oh, you
good
better
people?
believe it. Oh, man, fantastic people. Yeah, fantastic
You know, I grew
people.
up in an area where they were called Ojibwe.
Ojibways, yeah.
And they're related to the Cree.
Yeah.
And those Cree, well, they were the Chippewa branch of the Ojibwe.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were fantastic woodsmen. Really knew how to live in the woods.
Yeah, well, after that, I met old Maggie in Loon Lake, Saskatchewan. And I was working in a flour mill there. And she come in and she wanted 3 bags of flour. And flour was $1.80 a hundred.
Is that right?
Out of the flour mill there.
Yeah.
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 So the guy that was running the flour mill, he took out 3 bags of flour and put it in the back of their sleigh. Her and her husband was there. She could speak English, and her husband couldn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, he wanted the money for the flour, you know, and she said to him, "Pay Kisi cow."
What's that?
Well, a Kisi cow means pay tomorrow, the next day, or next week,
or
maybe next month.
Yeah.
But wouldn't go beyond a month, you know.
Is that right? Yeah.
So the guy that owned the flour mill, he just guzzled the flour right there and took it out of the sleigh, you know.
Yeah.
And I went out and I said, "What's the matter, Maggie? Pay Kisi cow today, no money."
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, "Okay." And I grabbed the flour and threw it back in the sleigh.
What your boss?
And I said to her, I said, "Pay Kisi cow? Pay Kisi cow," she said.
Yeah.
I pulled the money out of my pocket and paid for the flour.
Good for you.
Yeah, right there in front of her,
yeah.
you see.
Yeah.
3 days afterwards, she came in with the money, and she wouldn't even speak to the man that owned the flour mill.
Right.
She'd come over and she paid me. She had the flour bags all washed nice and clean and folded neat and handed them to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the kind of people.
That's old
right?
Maggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was her last name? Do you remember?
I don't know what her last name was. We just called her Old Maggie. She was 60 years old. She was way up there inside the Arctic Circle, trapping rats with her kids, her families. You know what I mean? They knew the way out of that country. I built a canoe up there and paddled out of that country.
You did?
Yeah, and I wouldn't have never got out if it hadn't have been for the Indians.
They guided you.
They showed me the way out.
Yeah.
And I had rifle shells left.
Yeah.
I had about 1,022 shells left, and 2 boxes of
30-30?
no 6.5 rifle shells.
Oh, did you have a 6.5?
Yeah, I shot a
What
moose up there.
What kind of 6.5?
One of them 1495 Eaton guns that came out years ago.
Is that a fact?
There were Austrian works,
Oh, yeah.
and then the barrels were all rusted and shot on them, so they brought them over to Canada and they put.
New
They
barrels?
were 8 or 9 millimeter, what they were.
Mm.
So they put these 6.5 by 57 barrels on them
Mm-hmm.
and sold them for $14.95.
Is that right? And you got a moose with one?
I shot a moose. Well, I shot lots of them. Oh, yeah.
It's a good rifle, isn't it?
Pretty fair rifle, yeah. It doesn't shoot that fast. It shoots 20 or 26.50 or something.
Yeah. Oh, you don't need any more.
About 130 grain bullet,
Yeah.
120 grain bullet.
You know what I've got sitting in the next room?
No.
That was the rifle I'm going to show you.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
go get it. You carry on. Tell them what you did with the 1,000 shells you had left. 1,022 shells.
Well, I gave a couple of boxes of the shells to the Indians themselves when we parted company, when I got out to Meadow Lake. And the moose, we stayed right there till we ate the whole thing. There wasn't nothing left of it, only but a few soup bones. Now, this is your rifle, eh?
Yeah, this is the 6.5.
Oh, yeah, this is
A Craig.
a 30-40 Craig.
No, 6.5 by 5.5.
6.5 by 5.5, yeah.
Well, look at the end here. I got the bolt open there.
Yeah,
There, that ought to look familiar.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is a 6.5, eh?
Yeah.
You just pull the gate open on the side,
Yeah, drop your shells in.
throw in a handful of fodder, snap it shut, and
That's right.
slam the
Yeah.
bolt down, and she's ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 30-40 Craig.
Mm-hmm. They were a good rifle.
30-40 Craig, yeah, years ago.
They're reliable, aren't they?
28-inch barrel on it. Yeah, it's a good gun. Yeah. Oh yeah, very good gun. Yeah.
Reliable.
Yeah, real good rifle. Yeah. Yeah. Got a scope on it too, eh?
Yeah, that one did. You know, I went to Norway to visit my relatives, and I was looking all over Norway for one of those.
Yeah.
I brought one of the acquisition permits, you know, that we have to have now, those firearms acquisition permits. And when I got to Norway, they said, if you find any of those over in Canada, send them back. But we haven't got any more to give away. They said, so, because they use it in their national rifle shoot.
Oh,
This was their military arm. This was the
Yeah.
gun they used in their infantry.
Yeah.
So I told them, okay, I said, I'll try to find one in Canada. And they didn't want to sell me one over there. I got back here, and guess where I found that rifle? Merritt.
Oh yeah.
After looking all over Norway for one, I found it in Merritt. But I heard that, like in the north, the Indians, they didn't have money, so they traded 22 bullets. They would use 22 bullets for money. Have you heard that, or is that true?
Traded rat skins.
They did?
Oh yeah, traded rat skins for tobacco, cigarettes.
Well, what would you trade one muskrat skin for, let's say?
Well, rats then were $1.80.
Yeah. So that was a lot of tobacco in those days.
That was a lot of tobacco in them days. Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 1931.
Yeah, right in the Depression.
Yeah.
Right in the thick of the Depression.
Yeah. I came into the store on Craig Lake, on the west side of Craig Lake, threw down 2 rat skins and said, give me some tobacco and some cigarette papers. He said, what kind of tobacco do you want? I said, I don't care, just as long as it's got nicotine in it.
You had a real nicotine fit, huh?
Yeah.
You'd been
I
out of
had
tobacco.
smoked for about 2 months.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee.
Yeah.
Well, how much tobacco did he throw down for you?
I think it was a can. Give me a can and took 1 rat skin and gave me some change out of it.
Ah, yeah.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that a Hudson Bay Post?
No, there was an old fellow by the name of Stonehawker. Had a store on the west side of Craig Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's west of Flotten Lake in Saskatchewan. There's north, it's about 60 miles northwest of Meadow Lake. That's where the Craig Lake is. And it's above the Waterhen River, so you're above the survey. There's no more land surveyed for homesteading above the Waterhen River. It might be surveyed now, but it wasn't then anyway. Yeah, I trapped some more muskrats in there.
How many muskrats would you get in a year?
Well, oh, it's hard to tell. You'd trap, and then sell some, and trap, and then sell some.
You know, I did some trapping as a kid in northern Minnesota. We caught fox.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what a fisher is?
Yeah.
We got fisher.
Yeah.
We got fox. Well, the mainstay was not muskrats. It was weasels.
Yeah.
We caught weasels, and you know what we used? Rat traps for weasels.
Yeah.
Those wooden based. See that finger right there?
Yeah.
Doesn't look right, does it? That's from a rat trap.
Yeah.
Reaching around in the snow. Wham! Right, instead of using a stick like any common sense person would use,
You found the trap anyway.
I found the trap.
Or it
Boy,
found
did I
you.
ever, man, did I ever feel it. Those were good. That was a lot of fun trapping. I don't know, now it seems bad, when I look back on it, was a little cruel, but that was actually the only way I could earn any money as a kid, was trapping. And
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Back in the days when I was a kid, you know what I mean. You did anything that had a nickel in it.
Yeah.
You know.
You'd stook hay for all day long for what, $1 or 50 cents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set up bouquets in the fall.
Yeah.
Stoop.
Yeah, stooking hay.
That's one thing I could do.
Yeah.
I could stoop. There's some things I could do, and some things I can't do. I can't cut brush.
Why?
I don't know, but I just wind up sitting on the brush pile.
Why?
And I don't know, but I just can't drive myself to cut brush. And I couldn't keep myself warm in July cutting brush. But I can stook.
Yeah?
I've stooked several falls for the price that it cost the farmer for the twine, and then made over $5 a day stooking, when the rest of the guys were getting around $2, $2.25 a day for stooking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were
And
making
stooked for
double
two binders.
You were making double wages then, huh?
Stook
Yeah.
behind two binders. Yeah. Set up about 35 acres a day. Yeah. There's an old Scandinavian, old Swede fella taught me how to stook. Yeah, and,
Using your legs.
he was a wizard. He was a wizard.
Yeah. Using your leg and your knee?
Yeah, I used to set him up on my knee or just grab two by the band and hit him with my elbow a little bit and stick the butt of the sheaves right down into the ground, the tops together, and set two on the far side, two on my side, and one on the outside.
You were lifting over...
Set them all up facing north and south, and the north end of the stoop just a little bit higher than the south end.
So the rain had come up? Or
Well, the sun shines on it,
Yeah.
and if it rains, then the sun will dry both sides of it. The north side of your stoop is pretty near straight up, so that it doesn't catch much water anyway. Well, there you are.
There's an art to it. Like
Just
most
that
things,
simple.
yeah. I can see where you would have been a good sawyer then too, because you use your head.
Yeah.
You figure things out rather than...
Well, you have to have a mind that figures things out, you know. And you never stop thinking. You never stop learning this thing. Here, see, 3-4 years ago, learned to tie flies. Learning something new again. Just because I'm 76 years old, that doesn't matter, make any difference.
No.
I still can't learn anything.
You still got a lot of interest in life, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... I can't understand these kids when they say, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I would have given my eye teeth to grown up in country like this when I was a kid. Like I said, I grew up where it's 115,000 people. To find any hunting, I had to go 10 miles on my bicycle.
Yeah.
These kids can hop out of here. They can be hunting within 2 miles of town.
Yeah. Boy, nothing to carry us there. I walked several times from the bottom of Crater Mountain to the top.
Which one's Crater Mountain?
It's up by Snola Creek there, 7,600 feet high. The mountain is.
You're in by
I walked up there with my son. We shot a 5-point buck and loaded it on a horse and stayed overnight.
Yeah.
Shot it the next morning. We seen 9 big bucks while we were up there.
Is that right?
Yeah. There's no deer there now at all.
What, is that in the cathedral area?
It's up.
Or is it
No, it's
closer-
on
closer
this
to
side
town?
from the Cathedral Canyon.
Down the Ashnola this way?
Yeah, down the Osmo. It's a big mountain you can see there when you're going in. There's a forestry lookout on top of it.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah, they took a cabin up there with a helicopter and shot it down. And fastened it down with cables up there so it
Isn't that
wouldn't blow
amazing?
away.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing what they do with those helicopters?
Yeah.
They're talking about logging some of these hillsides with a helicopter.
Yeah, well, that's a little too expensive.
I think so.
Yeah.
You'll have to use balloons or something. Helium balloons or something.
Well, you'd have to have too big a helicopter.
To lift those
Yeah.
huge Douglas fir logs, right?
Well, they'll figure out ways of getting them off the mountain. You look around Hope out there, and they're getting them off some pretty steep patches. Look up the hill there, and you can see those bare patches up there.
Yeah.
Those are logged. Yeah. Somebody went up there.
Do you know about anything about those mountains behind Hope? Have you ever walked around in those mountains?
No.
Oh. They tell me there's soapstone over there.
If you want to find soapstone, you go down to Caramias.
Is there soapstone at Caramias?
Yeah, real good.
Where? I like the
serpentine talc.
Yeah,
Serpentine talc. Well, you go down to Caramias if you're really looking for soapstone, and you go down the old road
Yeah, on the other
towards
side of the tracks.
Chappaqua.
On the other side of the tracks.
And it's
Where do you
down,
get on that
You know
road?
where the Fairview Road is? Turns off.
Well, name one of the fruit stands that's there.
Well, it'll be just about straight straight east of Farmer Bush's fruit stand, right over next to the mountain.
Oh,
But if you look going in down, if you know where the satellite is, the Caramias television satellite is up on the hill there. Well, there's 1, 2, 3. There's Barslow Canyon first, and then there's a Fairview Canyon. And there's a road goes up the Fairview Canyon across over to Oliver.
Okay.
You can drive through there.
Yeah, okay.
And you go on down from that, if you're looking, and I think it's about the last little small canyon on the side of the road on the left-hand side there, and you see some white spots, or some light-colored spots.
On the right.
On the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And if you go down there, there's a man there with an orchard. You have to park and walk in through his place. You ask him, and when I was down there, he said, sure, go ahead. And there's lots of soapstone that's washed down the hill there, or if you want to get some good stuff, you can walk up around in the canyon there and pick it up. You can. Yeah. It's soft enough that
You can carve it with your fingernail.
Yeah, I took it and sawed it on the bench saw with a combination wood saw. And I made all sorts of stuff out of it. I made a whole bunch of bookends. And then if you want to varnish it, it really turns real dark. Yeah. That's pretty good, yeah.
That stuff is soapstone that I found.
This is a soapstone. Yeah.
Well, I didn't find it. Actually, a guy by the name of Richard Smith gave it to me. That's
yeah. Well, this is a talc. This is what your the old-fashioned calcimine used to be made out of.
Yeah,
And
calcimine lotion.
and now they're making paint out of it. And this is same stuff is used in paint.
Oh.
This same stuff, yeah.
Well, I like to carve soapstone.
The what?
I like to carve it. It's fun to whittle away at it.
Well, this stuff down here is green.
Yeah, it'd be prettier than that.
It's a serpentine talc, and the reason it's green is that up the hill there's a small deposit of chrome.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so it's leaching the color out.
And the chrome sort of leached down there and made it green. Either that or it's a bit of azurite with a copper stain in that.
I had a little geology myself, so you can use those terms.
Yeah.
But I don't think I had near the geology you used.
Well, if you get into geology or something, same as anything else you learn, you know what I mean.
But this is just the same as that talcum powder, baby talcum powder.
Yeah.
Same stuff.
Baby talcum powder is made out of that.
Yeah.
They take that and they grind it all up real fine, and then they treat it. And if you notice any place you've scratched it, there's white. Well, you can take a black piece of soapstone and scratch it, and it'll be white, or almost pure white. So there's very little color in it. But they can do away with the color in it and come out as pure white stuff, or treat it.
Well, I'm going to see if I'm down that way. Well, maybe I'll even make a special trip and see if I can find that.
Yeah.
Soapstone. Maybe sometime you could show me. We could go together.
Yeah, well, it's on the old road out of town. It's the farthest road off to the left in the valley there. And if I remember right, the road makes a sharp swing to the left over next to the mountain. You stop right there, and back on the left, there's an orchard there. And there's a guy living there. And if you go up and knock on the door and ask him if you can go in and get some soapstone, and he'll let you pack off half the mountain if you want it. Sure.
Yeah.
I was field man for the Carameus Rock Hounds for 3-4 years down there.
You were?
Yeah. So I know that country pretty well.
Do you have a tumbler and a diamond saw?
I had a tumbler and a saw, and I sold it to a fellow downtown here. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of stuff I sawed there. Oh, it takes too much time. It's a messy job sawing rocks. Oil flying all over, you know what I mean. I didn't have a good outfit.
Well, I used, you know what I used on this? A hand saw.
Hand saw, yeah.
Right.
You could saw that. A rip saw.
Right.
Cut it, yeah.
Yeah, just cut it.
Yeah. Meat saw worked good.
But I like those Indian soapstone carvings.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I watched a guy up there in Edmonton. I had a delay on the airline, you know?
Yeah.
You know how they managed to do that? So I had about 6 hours to kill between planes. So I went into town and I saw this place, and I went in there. And this Eskimo boy from way up north had his little toolbox there. It was a fishing tackle box, just a little metal fishing tackle. And he had some chisels in there. He had a 1/4-inch drill, and he had, I think he had a Swede saw or something. I remember he was cutting with a Swede saw, one of those little bow saws.
Oh, yeah.
And he took this rock and he just sort of held it in his hands for a while, looked at it. There were some seals So he started, and the way he used the grain and everything in that rock.
Oh yeah.
He carved this mother seal on her puck sitting on a ledge right over the ocean.
Yeah.
Was that beautiful?
Yeah.
Well, I told him I'd like to buy it from him, and he said, well, you'd have to talk to the manager of the store because he was just working for him.
Yeah.
So he said if he had his way, he'd sell it to me for $100. And I said, oh. And I wasn't too happy with $100 either, you know.
No.
Because, but then when I asked the lady, she said, I can't tell you yet. We'll have to wait till it's done. But leave your name and address, and I'll write when it's done and give you the price on it. And I just about dropped when I got the letter from her because it was $350.
How much?
$350.
350.
Yeah. The Eskimo would have given it to me for $100. I
Well,
remember
of
I had
course,
some
the store
trouble.
has to, this is the price of inflation, you see what I mean? The
Yeah.
store had to make a profit on it.
Well, $250, yeah.
This stuff down in Karameas there, it's kind of white looking, and you have to watch when you pick it because there's a bit of hard rock in with it, some of it, you know. But I think we went up the hill there and we dug some out with a rock pick and got some pretty fair stuff.
Well, is there any commercial value to soapstone?
Nothing
Just
that I know of,
artists. Just artists.
only just to make paint out of it.
Yeah.
And there's literally millions of tons of it, you know what I mean? There's lots of it in the world. There's talk, you know, lots of it.
You know what they're starting to use this for?
Huh?
I'll tell you what they're starting to use this for.
What?
They're making stoves out of it.
Oh yeah.
They found that soapstone is the best thing for retaining heat.
Oh yeah.
Better than steel, better than cast iron. It holds the heat.
Oh yeah.
And so if you make a stove, a wood stove,
Yeah.
and you heat this rock up, it'll stay hot for a long time, you know,
Oh,
after
yeah.
the fire goes out. So it makes it real nice for,
Oh yeah.
you know, at night. It gives
Yeah.
the heat off during the night when your fire's out.
Yeah. There's more aluminum in the earth than any other known mineral, you know.
Yeah.
I can go out in my garden there and dig you up some gumbo mud there. You can now say about 20% aluminum.
Yeah, well.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Aluminum is an alkali mineral,
And
Yes.
we're in good alkali area.
made from alkali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever find gold?
Gold?
Yeah, when you're prospecting?
Not in solid rock, no. I
You
found a
found
bit
it.
of placer here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, gold, you know what I mean? It's the old timers went through this country here and they got the cream, you know. The best way to find gold is if you have to use modern stuff to go and look for it, you know. But well, they're getting on to ways of mining one thing or another. Nickel plate's got to come back. It took $37 million out of one kidney, you know, at nickel plate mine when gold is worth $35 an ounce. That'll give you an idea how much of it's there. 12 ounces to the ton.
To the pound, you mean?
To the ton.
12 ounces to the ton?
12 ounces to the ton.
Is that
yeah.
a good rate?
You better believe it. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
12 ounces to the ton.
Well, you take this here separation,
Yeah.
the plant they have here.
For copper,
in-
you mean?
Copper, yeah. They can only separate half of 1% copper. And that's the capacity of the mill. It won't take out any more
Yeah.
than that. So if they've got 6% copper, they have to run it around 12 times before they get all the copper out of it.
Oh,
They recycle it until they get it all out.
oh, I see.
But the slime pond right out here by Princeton has got, had quite a few years back, 25 years ago, they said $6 a cubic yard of gold in it.
You mean the settling pond for the
Yeah,
sewage
yeah,
lagoon?
the slime pond here.
The sewage lagoon.
Yeah, but you can't get it out. What are you going to do with the slime?
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to have to move it.
Yeah, right.
You're going to have to process it. You're going to have to move it.
Yeah.
The first thing you start digging into that slime pond there, you're going to have the whole town of Princeton screaming their head off about it.
That's for sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In order to get it, you'd have to cyanide it, you see. You'd
And
have
then what do you
you'd
do
have
with
to
the
treat it with
cyanide?
cyanide. Well, the cyanide disperses fast in the ground. It doesn't stick around. It's not really a hazard.
Isn't that what happened to Ferguson's place out there? You remember Ferguson out there in that
Yeah.
valley there? His cattle started to get aborting all their calves, you know?
Yeah. Well, maybe that was. I wouldn't want to go into that with any detail. I was out there, and I seen fish swimming in the creek, live fish. Didn't hurt the fish any.
Oh,
I wouldn't like to comment on that too much.
We'll keep that off
But
the record,
you
huh?
keep that off the record. But I will say this: it was
Yeah.
a heck of a smell coming off the creek.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's reagents leaking out of the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that dam. They were going through the dam there.
Well, yeah, they leaked right out through the lake.
Yeah.
You know what happened there? They ran the reagents from the mill across into the lake. So these are flotation reagents. Then they were using water out of the lake back into the mill. You see what I mean? And this saved them the expense of putting in filters to filter the water that was going into the lake. So the reason the lake leaked was that the reagents in the water settled on all of the sediment in the bottom of the lake. All of the fallen trees and leaves, all of the decomposing crap that's in the bottom that had it sealed, settled into that, and it all floated.
Oh, in the spring.
It came loose
Overflowed.
from the bottom of the lake and came up.
Yeah, that turnover that occurs every year in the lake.
Then these here three old springs that ran maybe 1,000, 2,000 years ago broke loose and started to run, and ran the reagents underground out through into the creek. Yeah, that's how that happened.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to tell you something, Charlie. I was downtown. They're tearing down the oldest building down there. I think it is in town now. That one on Angela Avenue.
Yeah.
And did we have fun in the basement of that, finding old bottles and stuff?
Oh yeah.
In that old place, you know what it
Yeah,
was?
under the floor. And stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was. Yeah, that thing that you see in the top of my truck was a table out of there, a workbench. That big thing out there on top.
Yeah.
That's supposed to go in my garage somewhere. You should see my garage.
Yeah.
Like most garages, I haven't got room for the cars. The cars are sitting out here. My garage is full of pack rat junk, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing, you know. You can do a lot of things in a lifetime. You can do a lot of things in a lifetime. I think when it comes time to die, that a person is going to worry more about the things that you didn't get done than they are the things that you did. You know?
Oh, that's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you're going to worry about.
Yeah.
Did you get this down there too?
No, that came from Belgium.
Okay.
There's a little farmer's knife over there that they use in Belgium.
Where's this at?
Belgium, the
Oh,
country
yeah.
of Belgium.
It's a good knife.
Yeah, it works good. And you know how you lock it? You turn this.
Oh yeah.
It's like that, see? And that
Well.
keeps the blade from coming back.
For goodness sake.
Isn't that a clever little knife?
You know what that would be a dandy knife for?
What?
Grafting.
Oh, trees?
Yeah.
Do you know how to graft trees?
That's something you got to get at. I'm going to do some grafting this spring. I should get at it right away.
Where, in your yard?
Huh?
In your yard or where?
Yeah.
Would you call me up the day you do it? No kidding, I'd like to learn how.
You would, eh?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Well, you know my last name, Sandness. So you could
Sanders, yeah.
Sandness.
Sandness.
Yeah, you can look that up now. It's the only Sandness, of course. In the
Oh, you
world.
know.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Where did you learn how to graft? Did some farmer show you?
Oh, I watched a guy across the street from me there.
Yeah.
From
have
in
success with
Caramias. You see, I live in Caramias there.
Yeah.
I had an orchard in Caramias.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got, I grew Mac apples, real good Mac apples right here in Princeton. I sent one over to the experimental farm at Summerland and asked them what kind of an apple it was. They said it was one of their hardier varieties of the Mac apple. And they're just good apple as you can grow in Caramias.
Yeah.
And I grew about a half a box there one year. And I just might have a pretty good crop this year. If they don't blossom too early, that'd be all right. You know, they're a little smaller.
I'm getting apples off the tree in my backyard here.
Yeah.
But I don't know what kind they are.
Well, I got one tree of, I think they're wine sap, and this one tree that's
the old Max, huh?
the Max. I grafted a little tree myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then grew a tree off of it. But it takes such long, quite a while. 10 or 12 years before you get the apples off of it.
Yeah, I know that.
And then there's one over on the other side of the house. Last fall, after the leaves were all gone, and I look up in the tree. Here's 2 apples growing in the top of it. Pretty nice looking apples.
Uh-huh.
They were all frozen in one thing or another, but they were there.
So you'll get a bigger crop this year.
Keep an eye on that. Yeah. Well, I got them to prune and the one thing.